So our favorite money-hungry company released the trailer for Pokémon Legends Z-A new DLC, but they also revealed Megas, and that's what I want to focus on, with particularly focusing on Mega Chimecho and Mega Baxcalibur. So I want to build what I think would be the most competitively viable versions of them. And what we're going to go through is be changing their stats, their moves, and give them new abilities. So we have a new typing to play with now with Mega Chimecho, and I can go more offense or defensive. True, the steel typing is great. It's really what's saving it for now because it's stuck with the handicap of the psychic type. I know a lot of people will tell me that I'm probably overstating how bad it is, but really think about when was the last time that the psychic type was good. Not which psychic type Pokemon are good, because let's face it, most of the time psychic Pokemon are good, their psychic typing has nothing to do with it. It's mostly just a handicap. It's not really good offensively, and it's not good defensively. I do want to go more the offensive route because personally I have enough of Pokemon that are psychic types and defensive. I think there's a good hole in the market for a steel type attacker too, specifically a special one, which seems fitting because now we're going back to Generation 6, where Fairy was introduced. So, a good steel type is always welcome. So I gave her this stat spread. As you can see, I min-maxed her to hell while slightly buffing her defenses. Her defenses aren't going to be the main selling point, but that's always good. And I would have buffed her HP, but apparently you cannot change the HP stat of the Megas. So I min-maxed her specifically for the role of a special steel type attacker. I didn't want to make her defensive because I feel like Clefairy is already in a similar position where it's a defensive steel type and design-wise it's pretty similar, so I just wanted to go through a different direction. Therefore, I decided that her ability has to complement her role as a special steel type attacker. So I'm not gonna lie, I was already kind of on the fence when it came to, what to do because steel type is not necessarily that good offensively. Like, it's good defensively. You look at all of these typings it's resistant to, and a lot of these typings are not really relevant ones. So I thought of one ability that could actually help Chimecho in the offensive department, which is Steelworker. Steelworker is the signature ability of this little guy, whose name I can't really pronounce. He was introduced in Generation 7, and he's one of those Pokemon that isn't particularly good, but does have one aspect about them that is really amazing. Think Gumshoe, who is not particularly a good Pokemon, yet Stakeout is really an amazing ability. Or Woobat, who also sucks, but has Simple. In the same way, Steelworker is something unique to him that he can't really take advantage of because, first of all, his stats aren't that great, and also, he is not a steel type himself. Steelworker gives you a significant boost in steel type moves, so he doesn't even get to use stab. Now this move is great, because we're going to be giving Chimecho Flash Cannon. Flash Cannon is easily a very spammable move, and with Steelworker, it's going to be able to take out other Pokemon who aren't particularly weak to steel. The reason I wanted to give it Steelworker is, not only because the boost is great, but also because there is not a lot of great special steel type moves. I was looking through the lists on Wikipedia, and there really was not a good amount of them. Most of the good steel type moves are physical, as we're going to talk about a little bit later. He really needs this since steel type is really only super effective against rock, ice, and fairy. And the problem with that isn't exactly the number of types it's super effective against. It's that rock and ice are already fairly rare types. There are good rock type moves in Stealth Rock and Meteor Beam, and there's good ice type moves in Ice Beam, Ice Shredder, Icicle Spear. Them themselves are not really common types because they have lots of weaknesses, and typically there's a lot of defensive rock and ice types, even though it's a more offensive typing when we look at their roles in the type chart. It's not like it's super effective against ground or water. So we really did need to give players a reason to use Mega Chimecho over other offensive Megas. For a Psychic typing, I feel like she could just use Psychic or Psyshock. Overall these are really great moves. It's not going to benefit from its ability because their Psychic cannot steal, but it's going to be doing good damage anyways because of the stats that I gave her. The only really good special attackers for Steel-type Pokemon have admittedly been introduced rather recently, and Iron Crown and Gholdengo. The point where Mega Chimecho has the advantage over them is the fact that she's faster. While Iron Crown is not a slow Pokemon, Gholdengo definitely is, and thank God for that. It's one of the main things holding him down. Now yes, those are a very significant Pokemon, but historically, there has been a severe lack of them, with some of the best Steel-type attackers being physical ones, like Jirachi in Generation 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, or Metagross in Generation 3, 4, and 6. They usually used physical moves instead of special ones, like Bullet Punch, Heavy Slam, and Iron Head. So generally, those are really great moves to spam. But I also have another ability that I would like to give it. Potentially, Serene Grace can be very beneficial. Now, this isn't my preferred one, but I would give it the moves it would need to actually benefit from this. So, number 1, Flash Cannon. Flash Cannon doesn't have a 30% chance to lower anything, it only has a 10 one, but 10 from 20 is already significant enough. You can also use Psychic or Moonblast. Moonblast is good because overall, it's going to give you great coverage, and since this is a Pokemon that's just going to be spamming offensive moves, it's going to benefit from it. Or we can also give it Air Slash. Air Slash is one of the best Serene Grace moves, as Togekiss most notably used it, being able to just flinch a bunch of Pokemon because of its naturally already high speed. This is the type of role that I can see Mega Chimecho fitting into. There's also a great possibility. The reason this would work really well on Mega Chimecho is because of its already super high speed stat. The best type of Pokemon that have Serene Grace are fast Pokemon, so that he can benefit from Serene Grace that same turn. Anyone in theory can benefit from it, but would have Jirachi from Generation 4 been as good of a Serene Grace user if she had a speed stat of 50 or even 70? No, of course not. The point of Jirachi is to flinch everyone and spam its best stat move. There's a reason people would even run Scarf on it. Think about it. Dunsparce has a lot of flaws, but one of the main reasons people didn't use it is because it has a very low speed stat, so it could never really benefit from Serene Grace. Yes, you could in theory paralyze another Pokemon with Body Slam, but anyone with Thunder Wave can do that, and there's a bunch of Thunder Wave users who are much faster. Those are the two abilities that I feel like would really make it pop, but feel free to tell me what you think. Also, you guys should definitely subscribe if you also think that Mega Chimecho mogs Klefki. Now I'm going to move on to the next Pokemon, Baxcalibur. Now in comparison to Chimecho, Baxcalibur has the added positive point. He's already a good Pokemon who has a very good base to build upon. As you can see, this is what I did. Basically, I just min-maxed Baxcalibur. It's the same Pokemon, but on speed. He is still a bulky Pokemon, but I really wanted to focus on the attack and speed. The speed specifically, because he did not meet the 100 benchmark for what makes a fast Pokemon, which if you ask me, the 100 benchmark is already kind of outdated, and a more accurate one would be 110, but that's for another video. Now that low speed stat did not mean that he wasn't good, but it didn't help him. However, Baxcalibur is already a great Pokemon. I didn't really want to change his ability because his ability is already peak. In fact, his ability is one of the reasons he was banned from OU. See, Will-O-Wisping a physical attacker is one of the great ways to neuter a Pokemon, and Thermal Exchange is an ability unique to him that made it impossible to Will-O-Wisp him. On top of that, Fire is a very commonly spammed move. It can be Flamethrower, Flare Blitz, Fire Punch. Being able to just switch him in whenever you want is very, very helpful. You can't really find another Pokemon with these attributes. Even if he got some other ability, I can't say that there would be anything else as peak as this. But typically, Pokemon don't keep their abilities, so I had to think of something else. And I thought of Contrary, because one very common set is Scale Shot Sedge. It's a good dragon type move, but it lowers your defenses and speed. It's not usually that bad because you can switch out and you know it's already used on a strong Pokemon, but with Contrary, this would be an even more amazing move because he would automatically boost the stats. Plus, Bax often needs to run Swords Dance. This can, in theory at least, depending on your preference, free up a space in a set for another move like Breaking Swipes or Earthquake. To be honest, I can see this Pokemon being one of the most common wall breakers in Generation 10 depending on what they do with his set. I mean, he's already an uber ranked Pokemon, so I don't think power creep is going to get to him. Every single generation power creep does get a bit more significant and a bit scarier, but not enough to take down Baxcalibur, and especially not now that he's getting a Mega. Speaking of wall breakers and stall breakers, the other ability that I feel like could be really good for him is Mold Breaker. Now Now this isn't as flashy as any other ability, but this works well because it would help him against stall teams, specifically with Pokemon who have Unaware or any other of those stall-like abilities. Mold Breaker is not flashy, but it's also fairly rare. One of the most notable Mold Breakers in history have been Excadrill, who used his ability to take down Pokemon like Rotom Wash. This would be very similar, as he would be able to break through Pokemon like, say, Dondozo, without having to use Freeze Dry. Plus, Dragon and Ice is one of the best offensive typings. A little less so now that fairy types are, increasingly more common, but it still doesn't have that many resists or answers. So I have very high hopes for Bax. It's one of the best pseudo legendaries that we've gotten in a very long time. These are my ideas for the best versions of these megas. I could have done different things, for example, like make Max more min-max of an attacker so it could use moves like Freeze Dry, or min-maxing Chimecho in a different way, making it more defensively oriented. But I feel like Game Freak will definitely go for an offensive route for Chimecho, and while I don't put them making Bax more of a mixed attacker, I definitely like this more min-maxed version. So please tell me your predictions.